What this is, though, is we need to put a little bit more respect on George Pickens' name than we do. Big thing happened this summer for the Cowboys, of course. We signed George Pickens, former Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver. The only things that I keep hearing over and over in the national media, even in the local media, is that George Pickens is an amazing go route runner. He'll get up the field, he'll stretch the defense, and he'll contest for the ball at the catch point. All of this is true. In fact, I have his explosive numbers from Fantasy Points Data Suite. I'm going to share those. We'll take a look at that. This stat tracks the percentage of a receiver's catches that are explosive plays. And explosive plays, according to Fantasy Points Data Suite, their definition is 20 yards or more. So George Pickens is fourth in the league at 28.8% of his receptions going for over 20 yards. These are things that we expected to see because this is what the narrative is. But what's not talked about enough is how great of a route runner he is. At Fantasy Point, there's this metric that they track called average separation score. Yes, and they really lean into it. So it's a good laugh. But anyway, this average separation score is exactly what it sounds like. What is the separation that a receiver is creating on a route that he runs? And it only measures the separation created by the receiver. So the separation that the receiver earns. It's not going to measure the separation gained on a busted coverage. It's not going to measure the separation gained if a receiver runs a 5-yard hitch under a 10-yard cloud. It's strictly measuring wide receivers earning separation from the defense on a given play. So we're going to look at George Pickens' overall average separation score. We'll also look at his separation score on specific routes. I'll look at a few of CeeDee Lamb's as well for comparison's sake. And we're going to slip into the slot to specifically look at what he's doing in the slot as we get towards the end too. But starting out with the overall separation score, you can see that George Pickens has a separation score of 0.086, which is good for 41st in the league. CeeDee Lamb is right behind him at 45th in the league. Look at the other names that are in the neighborhood with him. You got Keenan Allen, you got Diami Brown, you got Michael Wilson. So Justin Jefferson. See, so these are respectable wide receivers. And as we go through it, you'll also start to see some of these names pop up in other places. You'll start to see other familiar names. And you'll see where different names travel and where different wide receivers have their strengths. This is the average separation score for George Pickens running corner routes. That's specifically corner routes. George Pickens is the 21st ranked wide receiver in the league with a score of 0.137. That's ahead of Jalen Waddle. That's ahead of Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, AJ Brown. Next thing we'll look at is the crossing routes. George Pickens has an average separation score on crossing routes of 0.088. That makes him 87th best in the league. And again, you'll see some familiar names. Zacchaeus over there from Washington. And James Williams. You got Zach Ertz on the list. You got Hunter Henry on the list. For comparison, CeeDee Lamb is a beast. He runs crossing routes in his sleep. His separation score is 0.321, which is 6th overall in the league. George Pickens is the number 1 rated overall wide receiver in terms of average separation score running an in route or a dig route. Call it what you want to call it. George Pickens has the highest separation score. You'll see Zay Flowers there, Rashad Bateman, AJ Brown. Again, a lot of these good wide receivers. If he is getting this much separation, we should hear about it. So why? Was it scheme? Was it quarterback? Is it exposure? I think when he gets to Dallas, we're really going to start to see a little bit more of what it is he can do other than just make those hero catches where he's lateral to the ground like Superman, which is fun. It's great to see. So, I mean, there are going to be some bad balls that are thrown to you. No quarterback's perfect, but we're also going to be able to see that this young man is a route technician. CeeDee Lamb, for comparison, Respectable number as well. Number 64 in the league, .091, running that in route. This isn't a George Pickens versus CeeDee Lamb conversation. This isn't George Pickens is better than CeeDee Lamb. What this is, though, is we need to put a little bit more respect on George Pickens' name than we do. So let's continue to look at these numbers and see what we got. CeeDee Lamb is 80th ranked on the out routes at .104. And you see the Darius Slaytons, the JSNs, Michael Pittman, Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz is showing up a lot. He's a good route running tight end. We know that. But now in order to find George Pickens' name on this list, we again have to scroll up. George Pickens is rated higher than CeeDee Lamb, considerably higher at number 26, with an average separation score on out routes of 0.254. Right under Romeo Doubs, in the neighborhood of Tyreek Hill, Adam Thielen, Travis Kelce, Marvin Harrison Jr. So taking a look at the post route, you'll see that CeeDee Lamb is ranked 75th overall. And if you look further down on the chart, you'll see that Jalen Tolbert is actually ranked 80th. Where do you think we find George Pickens? Again, we got to scroll up from 80, up from 75. Let's go past 20. George Pickens with a score of .185 is the 18th best receiver in terms of separation score running the post route. This one comes as no surprise. In fact, I would have expected CeeDee Lamb to be top 5 running the slant. He runs a clean slant, but he finds himself ranked number 14 with a score of .203, which is extremely respectable, probably a bit scary for defenses. CeeDee Lamb, slant route, easy money. Now this one isn't one of Pickens' strengths, at least according to the average separation score. I saw him run a few really nice slants when I watched the film, and I'm going to go back and watch some more. But these are things, again, we're going to see how they fall out, how they develop. You also see Amari Cooper ranked 62nd, right ahead of George Pickens at 63. You got Calvin Ridley, Jerry Jeudy, Amon-Ra St. Brown. I said I was going to do it, so I decided to go ahead and filter out all the routes that were not run from the slot. So we're going to go through a few slides to see how well CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens were able to gain separation running routes from the slot. So on all routes run from the slot, George Pickens ranks 53rd, CeeDee Lamb ranks 57th. Again, they're amongst good company. I keep seeing Justin Jefferson's name. You see Keenan Allen's name. These are people that we know are good route runners. Again, now, we knew George Pickens was dangerous running the post from the slot. We find him ranked 18th overall with a great score of .185. You see Jamar Chase on this list, just above him. Zach Ertz is on this list. Marvin Harrison, the rookie, is popping up a good bit. CeeDee Lamb finds himself in good company. You see Roma Dunze, you see Brock Bowers. He finds himself ranked 75th overall running the post from the slot. Now, we're back in CeeDee Lamb's territory. You see George Pickens and Amari Cooper side by side running the slant again. So we're ranked 63rd overall at .025 for George Pickens. CeeDee Lamb running the slant from the slot, 14th overall. You see T. Higgins and Puka Nacua. These are guys we know are great slot route runners. Drake London, I'm surprised I didn't see his name more because I do think he runs some pretty good routes. Malik Neighbors is on there and Zach Ertz. And now looking at the out route from the slot, we get George Pickens ranked 26th overall, just under Tyreek Hill. You see Adam Thielen in the picture. You see Mark Andrews in the picture. Cooper Kupp and Cortland Sutton. So I intentionally saved the dig route for last. The dig route from the slot. CeeDee Lamb, 64th overall. It's a great ranking. He just putting in work. We know what CD does. But how about George Pickens again? Because we already know that he was number 1 ranked overall running the dig route, whether it was slot or outside. And again, he's number 1 overall. .417. George Pickens' name keeps showing up pretty high on a lot of these lists. I beg you, go watch the film. Come back and tell me if you see anything that's contrary to what these numbers are saying. Or come back and let me know if this made you watch film and maybe you're a little bit surprised that George Pickens is a better route runner than you thought because nobody's saying it.